What's up, everybody? Callie Diomora here from insaga.com. And for the first time ever, I have Education Minister Lecce with me. Very nice of you to join me.
Thank you so much. Good to be with you.
So let's start off. You're in Mississauga today. You're in my hood. You are at Magellan Aerospace in Mississauga. You just announced an update on Ontario Grade 10 Introduction to Computer Studies course. Why do you think this was important to do now?
Well, we need to make sure that what we teach our young people is cutting edge. It's aligned with the labor market needs of our economy. Too many young people ask themselves, why did I learn that? They continue to be challenged and perplexed by why they're learning things that are unrelated to the changing economy around us. So our government has made a clear commitment to modernize the curriculum, align it with life and job skills we know are necessary to compete. Our mission is so that young people graduate with a competitive advantage. So a modern computer studies and technological education curriculum, totally overhauling the entire curriculum, is going to make a big difference as we infuse coding, digital fluency, and real-life application into the curriculum so that young people can graduate and get a good job within our science, technology, engineering, and math disciplines, which, as you know, there's massive levels of vacancies today, and that number will only rise tomorrow.
Awesome. Cool. I'm going to switch gears a little bit. How are negotiations going with the four major teachers unions so far? Do you anticipate any further strike action in the future?
Well, we just got another deal just yesterday with another education union partner. We welcome that to deliver stability for children and continuity for kids so they can stay in class learning where they belong. We've seen progress. We're going to continue to negotiate in good faith with all of our education unions so we can get this behind us and move forward as a province, letting kids get back on track. That's really what matters most. So we want a deal that is fair for workers and one that most especially preserves the in-person learning experience that I know children really want and I think their parents demand. So the government's going to continue to stand up for them and work hard to get these deals and provide some stability for the worker, for the family, and most especially for our kids.
Awesome. Okay, and I'm going to ask some Mississauga questions, Mississauga-Brampton questions. The Peel Services Board recently discussed bringing back police officers back to school. What's your opinion on that?
School boards will make decisions in partnership with local communities, law enforcement, and students. I think the kids have to be heard. They have an important voice that sometimes can be missed in these debates. So I want to make sure that local school boards are working and listening to the communities that they impact, and making sure that every investment, resource, and support is available to these kids to reduce the risks within our schools of violence, just to make sure that our schools are safe places, positive places, healthy places for learning in the province of Ontario.
And is there any specific funding coming to schools in Mississauga and Brampton?
Well, we did increase funding for the Peel District School Board and the Catholic School Board right across Ontario this past September. We increased it by $650 million more. We've allowed for school boards to hire roughly 3,000 more staff this year alone through a specialized fund to increase the amount of teachers and EAs and custodians and support workers within our schools. So I know this is making a big difference. And I'm very pleased that part of the agreement we signed with CUPE allows us to fund 1,800 workers, education workers, and another 800 to 1,000 teachers that are going to help improve the learning experience, especially when it comes to the learning loss that took place over the past years because of the pandemic and the strikes. So more staffing, more funding, yes, absolutely. That's going to continue under our government. You know, from when Premier Ford was elected in 2018, we've hired 7,000 more education staff. We've increased funding by $3 billion more when you compare it to the peak of spending under Kathleen Wynne's Liberals. So we're definitely stepping up in a big way, and we know there's more to do to help these kids get back on track. But none of it matters, the staffing, the funding, the modern curriculum, unless children are in class in the first place. That's why we insist that they remain in school without disruption right to June.
Two more questions. In 2020, the province appointed Bruce Rodriguez to oversee the Peel Board of Education amid allegations of racism in the school system. How much longer will he be there for?
Well, this is, our aim when it came to introducing Bruce Rodriguez was to provide stability to the school board. The first time in Canadian history, a Minister of Education in the government brought in a supervisor on the basis of anti-Black racism, broader racism, systemic racism. So it is a notable action that this government took because we take zero tolerance to to discrimination of any form against any community, irrespective of faith, heritage, orientation, or color of skin or place of birth. The school board is working with the new trustees elected. We look forward to a partnership emerging that puts students first and is centered within our community. And I look forward to seeing them take control, move forward in an inclusive way that respects the voices of our students, particularly some of the minority communities that exist within our province, and particularly in Peel, that have often felt that they've been ignored.
And this question hits home because I have a son within the spectrum. He has autism. Can you tell us what's happening with the Ontario Autism Program?
Well, I know Dr. Mary Fullerton, who's the minister responsible, has undertaken an increase of funding to help more families in the province of Ontario who need access to support for children with autism. In the Ministry of Education, we actually doubled the funding allocation for kids with autism because we were trying to expand more access to EAs and workers to help accommodate these kids and give them some opportunities and confidence and, frankly, the dignity that I think they deserve. I have an advisory committee on special education, the Minister's Advisory Council on Special Education. I meet with them regularly. They give me wonderful advice, from sensory rooms to the use of technology to better training, even de-escalation, and the use of social workers, mental health workers, and special education supports. All of this advice has been incorporated. This year, we increased special education funding by $90 million, just year over year, 1 year, a net increase of $90 million. It's now north of $3 billion in total. And I want families to know that we're going to continue to be there for them, their children and for their parents. They've got the right staffing, the right resources, and opportunities. And the final thing I just conclude on is creating better linkages for many of these young people to jobs. There's often there's not enough discussion about how incredibly disciplined, productive, and positive team members they can be within a business. I appreciate not every student can, but I do want to make clear that I think there's a great opportunity to connect some of these young people to the employment markets. When they graduate after age 21 from our school system, they can get a job and have a sense of personal dignity and personal responsibility. I know many parents have said to me, we got to do better in this area, and we hear them, and we're working together to make sure that there's good jobs available to them too.
Cool. And trust me, I know they're great kids. One more quick question. A journalist just asked me, are there any plans to reintroduce mask mandates in schools? Last question.
Okay. The Chief Medical Officer Feld has already provided advice to families. It is a choice. He does recommend it, and will encourage families to reflect on his advice. The children in Ontario, staff in Ontario, parents in Ontario will have that choice, and will respect the choice of parents.
Okay, awesome. Minister Lecce, thank you very much.
Thank you. Have a good day.